Next on Current News, tragedy in Mexico. A bus crash killing many Catholic pilgrims going home from a visit to Our Lady of Guadalupe's Basilica.
We choose to confront the culture of death.
Louisiana approving a pro-life law that protects infants living in the womb. Pope Francis is hours away from a mission trip to Romania. Crux correspondent Claire Jean-Gravé is traveling with him and joins us for a preview. Plus, Catholic students form a human rosary in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary as her special month comes to a close. The news starts right now. Good evening, I'm Emily Druby. Catholics in Mexico are mourning tonight after a bus carrying pilgrims crashed with a tractor trailer and burst into flames. Many are dead. They were heading home from a visit to Our Lady of Guadalupe's Basilica in Mexico City. The pilgrims are from the Archdiocese of Tuxtla, and their Archbishop Fabio Martinez Castilla expressed deep sorrow late this afternoon.
Esta tragedia nos ha golpeado hasta lo más profundo.
This tragedy has left us brokenhearted, but we need to be at peace in order to help them now.
The Archbishop confirming 19 people are dead, but the number could go up. Another 31 people were injured, including a priest, many still in the hospital, and at least 4 are in critical condition.
This is like losing a child, various children. No one expects anything bad to happen when you leave home. We always expect to return safely. This has made us feel more human.
There were people of all ages on the bus, including young kids and teenagers. They were from the parish of Saints Peter and Paul. The bus was heading back to Tuxtla from a trip to Mexico City's Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe. The bus collided with a tractor trailer, flipped over, and burst into flames. The crash occurred on the highway near the municipality of Maltrata. There were about 60 people on board. The destroyed bus was one of the 2 on the pilgrimage. The other made it home safely. Few names of the victims have been released. The bodies were badly mangled in the accident and ID cards were destroyed, so authorities have only identified 4 of the deceased. The Archdiocese and the faithful now focusing on honoring those they lost.
We need to help these families to find peace so that they may bury their loved ones and assist those who are hurt.
Masses will be celebrated for the victims on Friday at noon and on Saturday at 11 a.m. at the parish of Saints Peter and Paul. Psychologists will be on hand for parishioners who need extra help during this trying time. In a few hours, Pope Francis will begin his apostolic journey to Romania. He's the first pontiff to visit there since St. John Paul II in 1999. Melissa Butts previews the 3-day mission.
In this video message, Pope Francis addresses Romanians a couple days before starting his 30th international trip. On Friday, May 31st, he'll arrive in Bucharest, where he'll meet with the country's civil authorities. Then he'll meet the Orthodox Patriarch of Romania, Daniel, and the Permanent Synod of the Romanian Church. He will visit and pray with the Patriarch at the New Orthodox Cathedral. It's an impressive building that John Paul II donated close to $200,000 to help build. The day will conclude with a Mass at the Catholic Cathedral, in which more than 30,000 people could attend. On Saturday, Pope Francis will visit a very important Marian sanctuary for Romanians and Hungarians, Our Lady of Csíkszentmihalyi. Later in the northern town of Iași, Pope Francis will meet with families and young people. Romania is a country especially marked by the religious persecution by the communist regime. For this reason, one of the most touching moments will be the beatification of 7 martyrs. The ceremony will be on Sunday in Blaj, in the center of Romania.
E tra voi ci sono tanti martiri, anche in tempi recenti, come i 7 vescovi greco-cattolici che avrò la gioia di proclamare beati. Ciò per cui hanno sofferto fino ad offrire la vita è un'eredità troppo preziosa per essere dimenticata.
Pope Francis will leave Romania on Sunday, June 2nd at 5 p.m. In Rome, Melissa Butts, Currents News.
Crux Faith and Culture correspondent Claire Jean-Gravé will be traveling with the Holy Father aboard his plane flying to Romania. She joins us now. Welcome.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, it's been 20 years since Pope John Paul II's historic trip. What will Pope Francis encounter when he arrives in Romania?
Well, Romania is a small country. Some things have stayed the same since John Paul II's visit, like relations with different churches and religious denominations between the Orthodox, the Roman Catholics, and the Greek Catholics, and Marian traditions and adorations, which are very popular in the country. So Pope Francis will definitely want to cater to that. But there's also something that's unique that Pope Francis can bring that has that Francis touch, and that is in a Europe post-elections where there have been significant populist gains by nationalist parties. This is an opportunity for Pope Francis to talk to Hungary, to talk to Romania, to talk to Catholics, but to also talk to Europe.
Claire, can you give us a little bit of background? What is the state of the Catholic Church in Romania?
So the church in Romania is divided in basically three denominations, but there's also a consistent Protestant component. So there's the Orthodox Church, which is the majority, more than 80% of the population says they are Orthodox. And then there's the Catholic, which is divided between Roman and Greek Catholic. And then there's Protestants. All the Catholic and Protestants are about the same number. So this becomes a country where the religious and ethnic divisions make it a place where a lot of tensions may arise often, but it's also a place of dialogue, of encounter, of patience.
Speaking of the Orthodox Church, during the trip, the Holy Father will be meeting with the Patriarch of the Orthodox Church in Romania. Why is that important for Francis?
Well, this is important not just for Francis, but for all the Romanians and Catholics there. This will be a moment for Pope Francis to go back where John Paul II laid the first stones of this deep ecumenical relationship with the Orthodox and build something on top of that. And the Catholics there have been waiting for a pope to go and visit them for a really long time. And so this will be a chance for him to speak directly to them, for Catholics who feel like they're often forgotten.
Finally, really quickly, in his message to the people of Romania, the Holy Father talked a lot about the motto of this mission, which is walking together. What is the Pope hoping to accomplish with this message?
Well, that's definitely an ecumenical message. It's a message of the Pope will be praying with the Orthodox and other Catholic denominations there. It will be, again, a walking together, which is such a motto for Pope Francis. And given the number of martyrs, people who've died for their faith under the communist regime, this will be a very, very special moment.
Claire, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Tonight, Louisiana is set to become the latest state with strong protections for unborn infants. By a wide bipartisan margin, the legislature approved a heartbeat bill that bans abortions once a baby's heartbeat is detected. Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards has made it clear he would break with his party and sign the measure into law. John Milkovich is a Democrat in the Louisiana State Senate.
We choose to confront the culture of death. The abortion industry has taken its war against our children to our very doorstep. And we have determined to take the fight to the abortion cartel through the law and prayer to stop the horrific infanticide which is being inflicted upon our children.
Senator Milkovich was the principal sponsor of the pro-life law. Georgia could face backlash over its new law that protects the unborn. The Walt Disney Company has filmed several blockbuster movies in the state, but might not anymore if Georgia's abortion ban goes into effect on January 1st. Bob Iger, Disney's chief executive, is saying, "I think many people who work for us will not want to work there, and we will have to heed their wishes in that regard. Right now, we are watching it very carefully." The fight to shut down the last abortion mill in Missouri moving into court today. As Currents News' Michelle Powers first reported yesterday, the state is refusing to renew a Planned Parenthood license to operate in St. Louis. Stacey Cohan reports the latest.
Outside the St. Louis courthouse, passionate protesters rally to save the last clinic in Missouri that still provides access to abortions. Inside, lawyers for the state argue the clinic fails to meet health code standards. Planned Parenthood claims the state is weaponizing the licensing process to close the clinic.
The state is just continuing to move their requests and demands in an arbitrary and capricious way in order to not allow safe and legal abortion in the state.
This is not an issue about the pro-life issue at all. This is about a standard of care for women in the state of Missouri. Whether it's this clinic or any other clinic or any other hospital, they should have to meet the same standards.
The clinic fight follows a spate of states moving to restrict abortion, a trend aimed at driving the issue to the U.S. Supreme Court. Louisiana became the latest to join the fight.
We are giving hope to millions of unborn children across this nation that they can live and live their destiny.
These people are so adamant in that they want to fight abortion by closing down family planning and denying young women the opportunity to have control of their own bodies.
If Planned Parenthood loses the court battle, Missouri becomes the first state in more than 45 years with no abortion providers. A ruling is expected by midnight Friday. Stacey Cohan, Currents News.
New reaction from President Trump today on the heels of Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller's comments about the Russia investigation. Mueller yesterday sparked more Democratic calls for impeachment, a word the president doesn't like.
To me, it's a dirty word, the word impeach. It's a dirty, filthy, disgusting word, and it had nothing to do with me. So I don't think so, because there was no crime.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is being cautious about impeachment.
You don't bring an indictment or you don't bring an impeachment unless you have all of the facts, the strongest possible case, so that the president is held accountable one way or another in the court of public opinion or in the court of law or in the Congress of the United States.
Less than a majority of House Democrats, about 40, have come out in favor of impeachment. Political upheaval in Israel is setting the stage for an unprecedented new election. Israel's just-elected Knesset dissolved itself early this morning and called for another national vote on September 17th. Two elections in the same year would be a first in Israeli history. The move comes after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu failed to form a governing coalition. The search for victims of a deadly boat crash on the Danube River is still underway at this hour. A tourist boat was rammed from behind by another ship. The collision was recorded on a closed-circuit camera. The moment of impact is seen in the nighttime video. At least 7 South Korean tourists were killed and several others are missing after their boat capsized in the Budapest waterway. Hungarian authorities are conducting a criminal investigation of the other ship's role in the crash. There's a lot more news headed your way. Catholic students forming a human rosary for Mary in her month of May. New demands for defiance against California's threat to the seal of confession. The Theodore McCarrick investigation and a top Vatican official talking about its status. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. The Catholic Church dedicates the month of May to the Blessed Virgin Mother, and students at Brooklyn's St. Athanasius Catholic Academy are strengthening their devotion to her in a special way with a living rosary. Currents News' Tim Harfman reports.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
Bead by bead, or in this case, balloon by balloon, students praying the rosary at St. Athanasius Catholic Academy in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Honoring the Blessed Virgin Mary, they form a human rosary in the schoolyard.
She protects us, she helps us, she guides us.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses.
The month of May is dedicated to the Blessed Mother. Monsignor David Casado, pastor of St. Athanasius, says teaching children the rosary at a young age creates a strong relationship between them and the Mother of God.
This is a tool for these young kids to learn devotion, to Mary and the Rosary. When you need a little bit of a break from what's going on, hold on to the Rosary and pray that Rosary.
I feel like it's really important because since we're in a Catholic school, that's probably like the key to what to do, to pray.
Students holding their own rosary beads or folding their hands in prayer as they recite the decades. Jezebel Minchala, a 5th grader at the Brooklyn Catholic Academy, says Mary is her role model.
She's a mother to everyone because she was the mother of God, our Savior and our Lord, and she's just a very important part of my life.
From Spanish to Italian, Arabic to Albanian, students pray in 10 different languages. 8th grader Annalisa Conti leads the Italian recitation.
Not everyone speaks the same language, and we everyone gets the opportunity to pray.
3rd grader Anya Lerner says the Blessed Mother motivates her to live her faith every day.
She inspires me a lot by doing good things and respecting one another.
After praying, students let the inflatable rosaries soar into the cloudy sky, symbolizing their prayers rising into heaven. In Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, Tim Harfman, Currents News.
New demands for defiance tonight against a proposal in California that would break the seal of the Sacrament of Confession. Bishop Michael Barber of the Diocese of Oakland is saying no priest may obey the bill if it becomes law, and he's prepared to go to jail if necessary. The measure has been passed by the California Senate. It would require priests to report suspected cases of child abuse that were confessed by certain penitents. The California attack on the sacrament is the latest of several actions by lawmakers around the world that would undermine the seal of confession. National correspondent for The Tablet and Crux, Christopher White, joins us to discuss the disturbing trend. Chris, thank you for being here.
Good to be with you, Emily.
Chris, what sort of ripple effects could the California legislation cause, and what are the threats to religious freedom?
Well, Emily, I think a lot of religious leaders and lay faithful fear that religious persecution and religious attacks against believers in sort of hard ways like we see in the Middle East, but in soft ways like this are a real rising threat, and they fear that California, which mind you is the most populous Catholic state in the country, could create a ripple effect where other states seek to enact similar legislation.
Is there a valid case to be made that these laws could actually help child safety?
Well, one of the things that was pointed out as this bill made its way through the California legislature is that, look, we don't know of any cases in which, children have been harmed by priests not acting in their defense. But we do know about are cases in which people have come to the confessional and sought counsel from the police and felt, a change of heart and have become repentant and then have turned themselves in. And so the case could be made that the confession actually, helps the safety of children because of that.
How have priests and parishioners responded to this legislation?
Well, I think, Emily, there's been this real fear that, look, this is a publicity stunt aimed to harm the church directly. And the fact is that, the state has no business sort of dictating what religious beliefs should be and putting themselves above religion. And this is sort of, Exhibit A of sort of what's at stake here. And so I think a lot of priests, and as Bishop Barber said, they're willing to say, no, we're going to defy this. We're going to act in civil disobedience, and we'll go to jail if we have to, because we're not going to abandon this very sacred, part of our faith.
Now, Archbishop Gomez said that it won't help protect children. What does he mean by that?
Well, he's saying this is a political, stunt, and it's taking away from the fact that, look, where there are serious things that need to be done to protect our children, and the church is actively working to improve our safety precaution mechanisms, let's focus our attention and our resources to that.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us. The Vatican investigation of Theodore McCarrick is ongoing, but Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin is being vague on a timetable. The Holy See is looking into how the now laicized McCarrick rose to power despite rumors of sexual misconduct. Cardinal Parolin's comments come after Crux reported that the Vatican had imposed restrictions on McCarrick more than 10 years ago. Religious persecution in Pakistan is being condemned tonight by the country's Catholic bishops. Several violent incidents, including the murder of a Christian, prompted the bishops to call on the Muslim government to act, saying these attacks on minorities is not acceptable and the state must provide protection and security to every citizen. Special attention should be given to worship places. Still to come on Currents News, today is a holy day of obligation. Hear what Cardinal Dolan had to say about it. How the daughter of an immigrant decided to celebrate her high school graduation. And the tablet has a brand new page called Our Diocesan Family, where you can share your pictures of recent baptisms, Holy Communions, confirmations, marriage, all of the joyous sacraments. For more details and to submit your photos, go to thetablet.org/ourdiocesanfamily. Your picture may be published in an upcoming issue of the newspaper. We'll be right back. Masses were held throughout the Diocese of Brooklyn today for Ascension Thursday, a day where Catholics commemorate Jesus' ascension into heaven. New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan spoke about the holy day of obligation on Twitter.
On Ascension Thursday, literally, we celebrate the fact that Jesus left us. He returned to his Father in heaven. Spiritually, we celebrate the fact that he is always with us. He is still here, actually more powerful than ever.
The solemnity of the Ascension is celebrated 40 days after Easter. A special embrace between a high school graduate in Texas and her father has gone viral on social media. Currents News' Tamara Lane reports on how the teen decided to celebrate with her father after he was not able to attend the ceremony.
When I was about 4 years old, my dad was deported, and so it was just me and my mom in my hometown of Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Just last week, Sarai Ruiz celebrated her high school graduation.
My whole life, I had always thought that my whole family was going to be there.
But someone was missing from the crowd.
Unfortunately, my dad couldn't be there because he can't cross.
Ruiz says he's been out of the country since she was just a baby. Wanting to be closer to her father, she and her mother moved to Laredo and later found a difficult but effective way to be together once again.
It is hard to wake up early, like at 5 a.m., just so you can cross and go to school and then cross back in the afternoon.
Her diploma being the result of her hard work and dedication.
Right after I graduated, I decided to see my dad at the bridge.
The embrace was captured by her cousin.
I wanted my whole other family to see it and some of my friends to also see it as well.
She had no idea the video would go viral like it did on Facebook, having been shared more than 20,000 times. Some have even reached out to her with similar experiences.
Started sending me messages that they were proud that I didn't forget where I came from and that they were going through the same situation.
Ruiz's principal, Jose Eduardo Isnaola, says her success is due to her perseverance.
It's a story of resiliency, of grit, of thinking that nothing is impossible.
Besides a big hug on the bridge, her father shared something more with her that night, the love of a father and daughter that knows no borders.
He said that nobody could ever separate us, that only God could separate us, and that would forever be engraved in my mind.
Tamara Lane, Currents News.
That is Currents News. I'm Emily Drewby. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.